Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our epic journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the second round of the 1962 season, the Monaco Grand Prix. It was held on the 3rd of June, it had 24 entries, 16 of them took part in the race, with 8 of them having to retire. The race consisted of 100 laps completed in 2 hours, 46 minutes and 30 seconds. Jim Clark started the race from pole with Graham Hill in 2nd, McLaren 3rd, Mary's 4th, Gurney 5th and Jack Brabham started from 6th. After a phenomenal drive, McLaren managed to win the 1962 Monaco Grand Prix. Phil Hill came home in 2nd, just 1.3 seconds after McLaren. Bandini finished in 3rd, he was 1 minute 24.1 seconds behind. Surtees crossed the line in 4th, he was 1 lap down. Bonnier ended the race in 5th, he was 7 laps down. And Graham Hill retired on lap 92 with an engine failure, but that was enough to classify him in 6th. Here we are at the fascinating Monaco circuit, where a lap starts off with a short sprint into turn 1, a tight right hand hairpin. Next we come into Saint-Devote, a medium speed right-hander that takes us up the hill and into Mastanet, a medium speed left-hander before turning right through Casino Square. We're now going downhill into Mirabeau, a slow right-hander, which takes us into Station Hairpin, one of the most iconic corners in Formula 1. From here we move on into Portier, a slow speed right-hander, which takes us through the tunnel. Shortly after the tunnel we reach the Port Chicane, probably the most dangerous corner of the track, but finally we come through Tabak, a slow to medium speed left-hander that brings us around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Monaco Street circuit. Here we are in qualifying, coming around to set our first time lap, a 1:37.362, and just like at the Dutch Grand Prix, for some reason only De Beaufort came out to qualify, which I find quite weird. Regardless, I managed to improve my lap time to a 1:35.629. However, if this keeps happening, I might have to start skipping qualifying, as this gives me an unfair advantage. And here is a quick look at the previous Monaco Grand Prix winners. Andy has won the most races here, however that does not mean that this is going to be easy for him. As we take a look at the grid lineup, we have Higgs on pole with Graham Hill 2nd, Clark 3rd, Bruce McLaren 4th, Tony Max 5th, with Dan Gurney rounding off the top 6. Next we have Surtees in 7th, followed by Phil Hill in 8th and De Beaufort in 9th. Richie Ginther is starting from 10th, Trevor Taylor 11th, 12th is Lorenzo Bandini, 13th Ricardo Rodriguez, 14th Maston Gregory, Bonnier 15th, Baghetti 16th, 17th Mary's, 18th Lewis, and bringing up the rear we have Ireland in 19th and Joe Siffert in 20th. So that is the grid lineup for the 1962 Monaco Grand Prix. Hopefully it will be a good race, and he has the advantage here by starting from pole, but can he make it away cleanly? We are off and immediately Graham Hill takes the lead, and then one of the Lotuses makes it through as well as 2 Coopers. So that wasn't a good start for Andy, but hopefully we can make up for that by trying to stick close to these guys. Coming out of the hairpin we make contact with one of the Porsches. I think it's that of Dan Gurney, as we now rush towards turn 2. We are down in 5th and everyone who is ahead of us seems to be pulling away. This is not the start we needed. I was hoping for a much better start, as we now make our way up the hill. Dan Gurney is right on my gearbox, hopefully we can at least keep him behind. However, as we come from Mastanet, I make a mistake allowing Gurney to go right through. So we are now down in 6th and things don't look too good for Andy. But I'm hoping we can keep close to Gurney and force him to make a mistake. That would be ideal. As we take a look at a replay of the start, a slightly delayed response from Andy, which is what caused him to lose 4 positions so quickly. Again, this is not the start we needed, however, if we push hard we might be able to regain all the lost positions. Whether or not that will be the case remains to be seen, but as long as our engine holds up we should be perfectly fine. As we come into turn 2 here, all the while trying to keep Gurney behind, which was proving quite difficult, as we now come into Port Chicane, and I think I just saw Gurney fly into the bay. That's not good news for him, however it is good news for us. And here is a replay. Gurney hits the wall on the exit out of the chicane and is flung straight into the yacht and then into the bay. As we now have a look at a replay of Bonnier, who comes through the chicane, clips the wall, he's thrown into the hay bales, loses his front left, and he is also out of the Monaco Grand Prix. We now move on to lap 3, we are just coming out of turn 1 and we are just about to overtake Jim Clark, and there we have it, we are now in 4th. Hopefully we'll be able to catch McLaren as well. We are now coming out of Porsche, still on lap 3, and Graham Hill's car is upside down, which means we move up into 3rd. As we take a look at a replay of what happened, he clips the curb, which somehow causes him to flip the car. I'm pretty sure that's not how physics work, but whatever. Then again, I'm not a physicist, so who am I to tell how gravity works? We now move on to lap 4, we've just entered the tunnel and disaster! There's fire and thick black smoke coming out of the rear of the car. After only 3.5 laps, we are yet again forced to retire. Clearly there is something wrong with the V8 Coventry Climax engine we are using. That's 2 races in a row it gave up on us. If this keeps on, we will have a very tough season. And here is a replay of that. We come into the tunnel, the engine goes up in flames and it's all over. This is a bit similar to Damon Hill's incident in 1996. I was not happy with this at all, however. When I said that having an engine failure in the first race of the season was bad, I meant it more of a joke. Clearly the game didn't get that memo. And here we have a replay of Willie Maurice coming through Porsche, and the same thing that happened to Graham Hill happens to him as well. So that's another retirement to add to the list. So that's the end of the race for Andy, but of course it didn't stop there. There were still people left in the race who were determined to win. So I guess there's nothing else left to do than to see how the rest of the race played out. It was as you would expect really. Here we have Lorenzo Bandini on lap 5 coming into the Porsche chicane. He slows down and drives straight into the pits. So unfortunately that's another retirement. I'm not sure what happened as his car seems fine from the outside. Who knows. And here is a replay of McLaren coming around to complete lap 5 and post the fastest lap of the race, so well done to him I guess, as he's desperately trying to take the lead from Tony Maggs. This is now lap 8 and we are looking at Ricardo Rodriguez. He comes through Porsche, clips the curb and flips his car upside down, and he is out of the Monaco Grand Prix. We are now on lap 19, we are looking at Phil Hill coming into Mirabeau. He clips the curb and flips the car. Again, I'm not quite sure that's how physics work, but I'm willing to leave that assessment to the experts. They obviously know more than I do about such things. Anyway, we are still on lap 19. This is Giancarlo Baghetti. He comes through Mirabeau, his car flips, and we pretty much know the story from here. So that's another retirement to add to the list. Moving on to lap 20, we have Gregory in his lay stall coming into Porsche chicane. He hits the wall on the exit and flies straight into the bay. Perhaps he was thirsty and just wanted to cool down. This is now lap 21 and we're looking at Günther. He comes through Mirabeau, clips the curb, and you know the rest. Oh, sorry, this time it's slightly different. He didn't flip the car completely. However, he did get it stuck, so he retired anyway. We are now looking at Trevor Taylor on lap 24 coming into Tabak. Something happens to his car, he crashes into the barriers and he is out of the Monaco Grand Prix. This is Ireland on lap 26 coming through Casino. He tries to turn right, however his suspension collapses, sending him into the barriers and he is out as well. What a pity. We now move on to lap 29 and we're looking at Tony Maggs, who had a double failure. He's going really slowly, that is because he is stuck in 5th gear. And then to add insult to injury, his engine decides that it had enough as well. I feel quite sorry for him since he was trying his best to stay in the race despite a broken gearbox. But we now move on to the final lap of the race as we see Jim Clark come around to take the checkered flag. Fantastic win for him and Lotus here today. I'm sure they will be very happy with the results, and here they are. Clark wins, McLaren is 2nd, Surtees 3rd, Lewis 4th, Debufort 5th and Siffert 6th. These are all the people that managed to finish the race, and here are all the retirements. Unfortunately, we number ourselves among them, which is not very good. I'm really hoping that Brabham and Coventry can sort the engine problems out before the next race, otherwise we'll be in for a world of hurt. But that was the Monaco Grand Prix, a good race for Clark and everyone else who managed to finish, not so good for the rest of us who well, retired. But anyway, here are the career statistics. And this was Andy's 104th Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 8 pole positions, has set 16 fastest laps, his best finishes in first, has completed 72 races, 57 of them in the points, has won 35 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 7 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 388 points, has retired 32 times, has experienced 2,342 out of 2,860 laps, has 6 bronze trophies, 9 silver trophies, 35 gold trophies, and as an extension 35 podiums. And here is a look at the championship standings. Bruce McLaren extends his lead, Jim Clark is second, Dan Gurney third, Phil Hill and Surtees fighting for fourth, Baghetti and Lewis fighting for sixth. The last person to score points is Joe Sifford down in 11th, Andy Higgs is still in 17th, and bringing up the rear of the standings is Ricardo Rodriguez down in 20th. So those are the driver standings. Let's move on to the constructors now. And here Cooper Car Company lead the championship with Lotus in second, Porsche third, Ferrari and Yeoman fighting for fifth, and Equiriga Lois in sixth, with Scuderia Filippinetti being the last team to score points, and our team Brabham Racing is down in 11th, so not a very pleasing sight. But that was the Monaco Grand Prix. Unfortunately, again a very bad race for Andy and Brabham. Again, hopefully we can get the engine sorted for the next race, which is the Belgian Grand Prix. I'm looking forward to it, especially if our engine will hold up in it, because, well, that would be fantastic if we could at least finish a race. But anyway, that is the end of the Monaco Grand Prix, the end of this video. Not much to add to any of this really. You pretty much saw what happened, so I guess you can draw your own conclusions as to whether or not the race was good. But anyway, don't forget to vote for next season's team, link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment, I'm doing a playthrough of Diablo 2 and Homefront, so if you're interested in any of those games, there will be a link in the description to my second channel as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp!